Miss Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Miss Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Miss Universe podcast.
Hello and welcome to Emma's podcast. We are all midday, midday. Yes, we're midday when I'm recording it. By the time you're listening to it, it will be like 2 o'clock in the morning here, Central Time. So, having talked about efficiency, it's quite interesting to listen very interesting stories about actually Elon Musk, which is so interesting when things happen and listening to him moving things around when people talk about it's going to take 6 months to move. They closed down on X, or they consolidated actually one of their server hub and one in Sacramento. But it was very interesting to listen to how it happened because the guys were, it's going to take 6 months to do it. And he said, no, I'll give you 6 weeks. And he did fire the entire group over there. He was redundant. He got very upset by the answers as well. And one of the engineers that was in a flight back to us, and it was going back to actually Texas for the Christmas. He basically, one of them said, well, why don't we go over there and take them ourselves? So they end up in Sacramento on Christmas Eve and took all of the servers. But it was very interesting the way he did it. It's just mind blowing at some level. But again, his servers are working just fine. They, restarted them, they consolidated them, which I think it's very good to consolidate things. There's no need to triplicate things when you can centralize everything. You can decentralize. That's what the next president's going to be doing, decentralize things. So less stuff in DC and everywhere in the US, which makes sense. It reminds me as well what was happening in the industry way a long time ago, where everything in corporate was centralized in one location and they started to decentralize and move it to different locations, which I think it's a good thing in some level. So just listening to this was mind-blowing about Elon Musk. Again, the guy doesn't take no for an answer, which is good. Innovation. He really is kind of an inspiration at some level because even though people may or may not like him, his intent with X is to be able for everybody to speak and start conversation, which is good. Providing everyone the right to say things. And speak up without, the backlash. What I found it quite sad at some level here is the witch hunt. I think there was a waitress who took his order, and she got fired because she helped him. And for me, it's like, if you start to put politics into your business at some level, it is not going to help you. And you should not, based on what people are voting. That's why normally votes are private, unless you want to disclose who you're going to vote for. I don't think people should go after fired people based on who they vote. Seriously. We're all different individuals. We don't have to follow everybody. I don't follow the, what do you call it? The Lamb group. Robot world. I call it the robot world, actually. Becoming a lamb, following, and we should not be controlled and have. That was AOC who opened her mouth on. She wanted. Yeah, she was saying yes, the government should be more invested in people's life. No, you don't, because that's controlling people. And I don't remember who was the candidate that was becoming the secretary of. I don't remember what it was. for the new cabinet for the elected president. But it was very interesting to listen to her, and I'm like, no, I don't. I don't want the government to tell me what I should eat and what I should not eat. Neither what kind of color I'm going to wear today, what kind of dog I should have, structure my life. Absolutely not. The government should be there to help us and support us at some level, taking care of, when you're retired, and other things like that. Be the watchdog for what do we put in our foods. Because one of the biggest things is obesity. Obesity is different from Europe to here. This is what we would call it over Europe. Here, morbidly obese, because of the way the food is structured, the way they're putting in their meats. There is a lot of things that was happening at the end of the 70s, at the beginning of early 80s, where they prohibited antibiotics, hormones. Here it was in the US, they didn't give a crap basically, because they were putting antibiotics and hormones into the cattle, which basically was interfering with our health. And one of the biggest issue is we need to look at what we're putting in our bodies. Now, do we want the government to tell us what kind of car we should be driving, and all of us should be doing exactly the same thing? No. Diversity is what comes in our life. We all have different tastes, and we want different things. So it's very interesting when you're looking at the evolution and just said, you know what? We don't need to be babysit and being fed food, spoon fed by the government, when we can have the autonomy. But again, how can you have the autonomy if you're slowing down the economy? Because what has been happening is, I wrote, and I'm going to restart to write actually about those blogs, not my personal blogs, because I stopped to do that a while ago, which is like, it's fine by me. I wrote for several years, so I'm fine every day, 7 days a week I was writing. But I did the one on, you can find it on EDG and Associates, .net, the one for my company, my business. And I was looking at, and I'm going to write a couple of things about utilities, gas and oils, water, solar. So all of this, because I was looking at the oil, because I saw the shift with OPEC, and I write about it. I write about OPEC. They would be losing, they were number one for so many years. And they were in control of the oil and the pricing. Then the US started to expand, which is good, their oil production, which means not only they produce for the US, but they became number one for India, and there were others as well they were producing. And during the booming, the US became number one. The wild card always Russia, because they have their own, but they never committed to OPEC. They would do whatever they want to do, basically. So they never committed with to deal with OPEC directly. So they were the wild card. And you got OPEC, and you got South America, and you have other regions that were poor. However, the drilling offshore made discoveries of oil that helped other smaller countries, which is, to be honest, good in one way when it's done right. And a lot of big oil companies go over there, drill it, extract it, and they pay government as well. So that's mean when they're selling those barrels of oils, it helps the economy for that countries. Seeing the autonomy, seeing things thriving. And then COVID hit, change of position of government here, and things started to slow down. Taxes on smaller business, innovation got kind of halted, and becoming more and more dependent to be able to eat food on the government. Again, I don't do politics, but those are the track record that I have seen. And I saw the pattern. And we need to revert it to free enterprise for every business owners to be able to thrive. I love TikTok because that if it would have not been the currently newly minted elected president, that would have been the other person, then by January 20th, TikTok would have been gone. Literally gone. Because they wanted to shut it down. And I'm glad, in one way, that did not happen. Thanks to the universe for that. And the main reason, and I'm going to talk about it, because people will say, oh, Emma. No. We have a situation with Helene. Hurricane Helene. Started in September. We're in November. The news were there for the first couple of weeks because this is big news, this is big show, and then everybody leaves. Nobody gives a crap. We're going to go after the next shiny object. And you would think local news would continue to talk about it. Nope. Nobody does. Or unless there is something that, oh my God, everybody says something on social media and they're all going to come back and jump for 5 minutes. Like Thanksgiving is coming around the corner, so I'm expecting the news to do something about the boots on the ground who are organizing at Bad Cave, Asheville, and I don't remember Fort, and I forgot the name of it, Old Fort. They're gonna be basically doing a Thanksgiving for everybody over there. So this is absolutely fantastic. So you're gonna see that. But you're not see in the meantime what is happening with, they don't talk about FEMA, they don't talk about the Red Cross, they don't talk about the other organization who actually are still continuing to do that, and they don't even talk or dare talk to the people who go over there and work during the week, have their regular job. They live in a state next to North Carolina and Tennessee, drove back midweek to be able to help those guys on their own dimes, cutting trees, rebuilding, helping them, okay? And drive 3 to 4 hours, 6 hours to go back to their family and restart the week again. That is something nobody talks about. Making the decision that I made a couple of weeks after Helene, because I realized and I saw the pattern and I had a choice. Or the pattern continues and nobody gives a crap, like Maui, like Sandy, like any freaking hurricane we had here, where they got forgotten. We don't care, we move on, And with TikTok, it's seeing the truth. It's not somebody reading a prompter. It's not FEMA releasing or doing a photo op close to Asheville to deliver one ridiculous home or trailer. They did. It feels like to me this is the repeat of what the Red Cross did when $500 million, $500 million, was spent on Haiti, and they only rebuilt 6 homes. FEMA delivered what, two or three or something like that, and they had their operation up, and everybody came with the camera. Oh yeah, they did, justifying what they were doing. However, it's on the outskirts. It's not at the heart of the disaster. They brought it in the outskirts. They were there. They took pictures. So is the Red Cross, because they are working hand on hand, and be gone. So making the conscious decision to use actually TikTok, where people, boots on the ground, residents are sharing truth and stories, debunking the lies, because I haven't had to block people from my Facebook, because yeah, people will be, oh well, here's an article of this, you don't know what you're talking about, you're stupid, you're this, you're that. And I'm like, you know what, here's what I posted on one of my there was something I do. I don't need to get pissed off, I don't need to answer people. The only thing I gotta do, one simple little thing, and that's called block. I'm blocking people. So when in the middle of the hundreds and hundreds of comments and stuff like that, when I filter what I can filter on Facebook and somebody attacked me because they got nothing else better to do, then what I do is ignore them. And I post something today that was very good, actually. So it says, when I shut my mouth and walk away, it does not mean you have won. It simply means you're not worth my time. Well, you can apply this for anyone that I've been blocking, because the reality is nobody's giving information. So everybody's running like a chicken without head. The people in North Carolina and the Tennessee areas stood up on their own. They did not want a repeat of the past situation with the hurricanes, which I totally agree with, because for me it's appalling. And it was still appalling in my view that those people had to endure so much, and the saga continues and the jokes continue on them. We are done perpetuating this kind of situation where FEMA fell short, the government doesn't bring what is necessary, and you got the Walmart in the world, you got Cajun Navy, Samaritan Purse, and other organizations, not the Red Cross. Again, they're on my line of tier on this one, because they have not, they wanted to collect the money and go. What they did is there were some shelters they opened. There were, I don't remember, 36 shelters. There's only 3 open right now, or 6 open. They decided to close them down. Why? Because the excuse would be what? Running out of funds, and you have hundreds of people over there. So what do? What are those people? Is it reported to the news? No. We're not telling that in the news. We're not reporting what's going on. CPS is showing it, Child Protection Services. So every individuals who have been, it's insult to injury on this one, who have been to the Red Cross shelters, CPS is there to see if those guys are actually gonna have a decent home. So imagine you got less than a week to find everything, because you're being told that it's shutting down, and they will take your children if you don't have nowhere to go. There is no support, no help, and already some children have been removed from CPS. It is a lot to handle. Losing your children because they're stepping in, it is the most horrible thing that somebody could ever do. So, bringing the truth out there by sharing the story of those individuals, from the boots on the ground to the people, see what is going on, having a list of what is needed. That's what is necessary for those guys to turn themselves around. Do they have the support of the government? The government is nowhere to be found. Yes, there is 2 huge camps for FEMA. One is in Florida, the other one is in the Carolinas. But the people are not invited there. And the witness, I've seen that it's some other contractors, or they're empty. These could host actually people and help families, but it's not there for them. That is a concern. What would you do? I would be curious to know. What would you do? So for me, I made that conscious decision that I will, and I do every single day. I don't get paid for it, by the way, people. So understand what I'm doing. I have one person who made a comment. It was blocked too. And said that I was an influencer. I don't work. I'm like, really? Yeah, I do work. But I allegedly do not work. I'm an influencer. And I'm doing nothing, and I'm a lazy person. and I spread lies. Problem is what I'm taking it from TikTok or from the boots on the ground. And I have connection actually with some of the boots on the ground I connected with. That's why I'm doing a bunch of stuff for those guys and getting information, see what the needs are, and getting from others as well that needs stuff. That is called networking. So I did place something. I should go back and see where my Facebook is because I'm scrolling with my phone, but the phone is, oh, I love when my computer decide to play very slow, when the networks start to go slow. But think about it. And my information, and I'm not here to turn my horn or feel special, is reaching about right now, and it's growing 16 million people because nobody is aware of what's going on over there. Unless you're in Tennessee, you're in the North Carolinas, you know what's going on. But everything is filtered. Nobody wants to talk about it, and that needs to stop. So I am very glad that TikTok was able to be able to bring everything in and telling the stories of what's going on because nobody would be informed. Do you imagine if we had that for the previous, what do we call it? Hurricane? We had that. That would make a huge difference. Why do you think, and I don't know if you notice if you go to WalTT, but why do you think Walmart stopped to put at the end, for the cashier, at the end they stopped to put the, if you wanted to give it to the Red Cross. The Red Cross commented and they were not happy because they realized that that nobody was giving them money. Like they were expecting millions of dollars, and those millions of dollars will never see those people. Every single year, hurricanes like the one in, as I said, the most horrifying one was that $500 million for Haiti. And this is why you have to be cautious. You have to be cautious with the people. You have to be cautious. What do you call it? What do you call it? Charities. You have to be cautious and understand. Charities, you can give $100. It doesn't mean they're gonna give $100 back to the community. They can give $10 instead and keep the $90 for themselves. And this is how charity works. So those are the kind of information, you need to be aware of. And for me, I switched my Insta and my Facebook because I'm moving information that is critical for people to know. And as I said, I have thousands of people commenting on those, so they're aware of it. You do have the people who will insult you along the way and you block them, but think about what's going on and how the truth come out, because the news has been filtered so many, too many times to a point that it's not even worth to read to listen to the news because it is not objective. And that needs to stop. So there is a thing that I put on my Facebook. I'm going to probably pin that back up, which is We the People. Because some people said, well, if you're not from the Carolinas, if you're not from Tennessee, butt out, we don't want you. Well, actually, the boots on the ground needs everyone. And that's why I ask everybody when they're on my Facebook to share and repost so people know what's going on. And for the people that are hiding behind their keyboards, questioning the motivation of those individuals, do your homework and stop assuming what you don't know. To all trolls, why don't you step up to the plate and start helping? Otherwise, move along. You are not welcome on this page. I read this one up because I got fed up of the Viles attack, especially when people made some really ridiculous comment. I got some individuals that made some ridiculous comment. I'm like, you do realize what we're sharing here. If you want the big news, if you want the drama, go somewhere else. What I'm bringing to those is information that people needs to stay in the known. It was such a devastation over there. It's going to take years just to bring everything else back. But a lot of people are working day in and day out. Help, support needs to continue. So, being able to help in a capacity that will continue to move forward and move the family forward, that's what is necessary. So, it's very interesting when you're looking at administration and what we're being fed in the news. And finally, I think, I don't remember, it's MSNBC, the CEO, the chairman over there in California, have sacked his entire crew because they're not reporting in a more neutral position. Report the facts. Whatever you feel should not be in. And that's the problem in today's world. I'm like I said, I'm gonna start to rewrite, to pick up back my writing about my blogs, about gas and oil, and see how overall our economy is moving into the right direction. Because we, small business owners, the bigger one, well, they got impacted for sure, but not at the level of the smallest one. And being able to recover, because it's not an issue with COVID, it's an issue of stopping to try to control people. We, the people. Okay? I never liked, when I was a kid, being put in a little cage. And we keep you in that little box. I have somebody who made a comment, because I have a very wide resume. When you talk about from an analyst to operation to the marketing world to CFO, CEO as well, but a little less on the CEO side because I run my business. I'm not running anyone else's business at this moment. But being in a position of rebuilding, and when somebody wants to put you, oh, you're just in operation. No, I'm more than that, sweetheart. But they're in operation. Hey, we're going to keep you in operation. Hey, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, not happening. We cannot put people in boxes. We should not be put somewhere to make the ego world feel better. We are unique. We are absolutely beautiful beings, and we need to use our skill set to the maximum. And we are multifaceted individuals. This is what it's all about. So, all my love, guys, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe Podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe Podcast. Universe Podcast.